Do I not look nice every day? All right, find your table. Your computers at your spot. No water near the computers. We don't want to have anyone spilling. The only thing you need out on your desk. Did you take your stuff? I couldn't find your names, nombres sheet. Did you put it in your folder yesterday? What? Did I put that?
It's creepy. Well, yeah, we do. There's just one, you're just one, it's 10.
Aaron's got a good What's your photo?
That camera that big. I've never seen a camera that big. I swear to God. This is really good.
All right, what I'd like you to do. All right, what I'd like you to do is good morning. What I'd like you guys to do is to sign on. You can open up your computers. Please sign on to the computer. Annabelle, you're right here. And I've shared a document. And I've shared a document with you. So it will be group 2. It's by your group. So it will be group 2, group 1. You do not need to make a copy of it. You will all have that document in the group. So you're going to be able to write directly on it. Once you've done that, please just push the computer kind of to the side and look at your text that you have in front of you. Do you have the document? No. There it is. Group 3. It should say group, whatever you're in. It should say group, whatever you're in the document. All right, we have been reading the personal essay, Names, Nombres, for the past few days. Yesterday, we had a discussion on it. What I would like you to do right now is take a minute or two to review with your groups the highlights of yesterday's discussion. Take a few minutes and discuss what we talked about yesterday about the essay. And you
like that, or one that's one and why do you plus 3 hours, great. We read on how like it's okay to have like a different name and she wanted so that I don't even know what's like.
What you're doing right now is you're discussing what we discussed in class yesterday. Okay? Look back at your notes, look back at the questions, and highlight what was the point of yesterday's discussion. So So what did we talk about? What did you get a better understanding about the text yesterday?
So we knew that they changed their names because they didn't want to. They wanted people to pronounce their names correctly, and
Julia was afraid to correct the officer and her teachers about when they were mispronouncing the dad's name and her name. She was afraid that they would get sent back.
she embarrassed that name as the common American name, and then saying
And why was she embarrassed by her name? What?
because it's abnormal and it wasn't really common.
And it was a lot of people not really saying her actual name, giving her names Alcatraz, Julie.
They just came up with nicknames.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's they don't call her by her real name.
Yeah. But she was. But
So what do you think the highlights were of yesterday's?
Question, if someone knew her name was Julia and they called her Alex, what do you think she would do? Would she correct them right away or just say, yeah, my name's Alex?
Okay. But what was the highlights of new understandings about the story?
The name part, she just let people, she really wanted
Then why didn't she care, or why wasn't she, in the beginning of the story, she was correcting them? Why all of a sudden, as the story went on, did she not want to correct them anymore?
because she really didn't care.
But
She
did
did, but she didn't. I don't know how
Did she not care?
She cared. Yeah.
But what did she want more than?
She wanted to be popular and so people could know her, so she can have more friends. And since her name was long and confusing, she really wanted to oh, that's not my name. I know how I'm gonna leave. And her mom also told her not to. So she I guess she respected my mom at the same time.
Okay, very good.
Now we think it would be rude to say, oh my God, now what? Yeah, now what? First of all, I'm grown up and I feel so do you guys have any other questions about the she did become popular.
All right, let's come back together. And I heard some great ideas as I talked with each group. What was the main struggle that Julia went throughout the story? Sarah?
Not fitting in and being known as the exotic friend.
Okay, that she really wanted to fit in and feel acceptance. Now at the end of the story, what we want to explore today is what is the cultural self-identity Julia Alvarez has embraced at the conclusion of her essay. That is going to be our task today, is for you and your group to decide on what is the cultural self-identity Julia Alvarez has embraced at the conclusion of her essay. Then you're going to need to find relevant evidence and elaborate on or explain it, what the evidence means and how it supports your claim. So the first part of this task is to understand what is this question asking us to do. Can anyone answer that? What are you supposed to do with this question? What is the cultural self-identity Julia Alvarez has embraced at the conclusion? Sarah?
Well, first you would have to kind of read the end over to see how the author wrote it.
Very good. So you may want to, in your group, look at the ending. But what do you have to choose? What is the argument here that you're going to have to make about her cultural self-identity? What are the choices that Julia has to make? Laura?
If she's going to change her culture or stay the same, and then just add one more and become bicultural.
Okay, very good. So you're going to have to decide, is she totally Dominican? Has she become Americanized? Or has she become bicultural? So you're going to discuss as a group, which one do you think she has chosen. Then you're going to support your claims with valid reasoning and relevant and sufficient evidence from the text, which includes direct quotes and page numbers. You're going to discuss how each piece of text evidence found with your group to develop an explanation or how it supports your claim. And then later on, we're going to compose an argument. So the first thing you need to do is create a claim. So here is one that I've created. Julia Alvarez finally identifies with her Dominican heritage. That is the kind of claim that I want to make, which is fine. I can do that, but I need to prove with evidence. So I need to look back in the story and find relevant evidence how she identifies with her Dominican heritage. So then I went back into the story and I see right here on page 38 was an example. I was too afraid we wouldn't be let in if I corrected the man's pronunciation. But I said to our name to myself, opening my mouth wide for the organ blast of the A, trilling my tongue for the drum roll of the R. Alvarez. That is the evidence. And I think it supports the fact that she's proud of her Dominican heritage. And this is my elaboration right here. Julia is proud of her heritage. Do you think that's sufficient explanation of it? Do you think I can use that? Do you think that it's good, solid explanation? Discuss with your group.
Well, it's good, but you need to elaborate. She needs to elaborate more.
I think that she should say she's proud of her name.
Yeah,
I mean her heritage too, but like
yeah, I think she just needs to elaborate. Yeah.
So I think that she could also like say like she was proud of her heritage.
Yeah, Julia's proud
and
of
name.
Yeah.
And then like she could like say she's proud of her heritage and name, and then like explain how it shows that like Alvarez is a Dominican.
Yeah, Alvarez is a
last name. So and the person mispronounced it, so
she could even take it might if he pronounced it like really wrong, it might kind of be offensive, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's good. I think it's good that she corrected it
in her head.
Yeah, in her head.
So I think it shows she's proud, but I think she should say Julia is proud of like
her heritage
and her name. She shows this because not like that though, because we can't use because and shit like that. But she shows this by like saying her name,
coming to a point where she's
almost correcting the officer.
Okay, let's come back together. What did you come up with in your group? What could we do? Do you think that's proper elaboration? Do you think it's said enough? Tori?
Well, you can elaborate it a little bit more. Maybe say Julia is proud of her heritage and her name. She is proud of her name because, and then not give like a whole long thing, but just a little meaning of why she's proud of it.
Okay, very good. By just using the question why, asking yourself, why is she proud?
Because of why she is proud of her heritage.
Very good. So, if I use this. When Julia came through immigration, she was afraid to tell an adult how to pronounce her name correctly. So she sounded it out in her head so she knew the way it sounded. She couldn't understand how others did not pronounce it correctly. Julia was proud of her heritage. What do you think of that? Tori?
If you understand it more, you know why
she's proud of her heritage, you know why she's proud of her name, you know. Basically, it's just...
Okay.
Yeah, you know.
I don't have to guess on what, or you don't have to guess on what I'm thinking. I've just elaborated on how the evidence connects to my claim that she's proud, and I've explained it. And that is what you do when you elaborate. And a good strategy to use is just say, why? And by questioning it can help you to extend your thinking. So today's task, going back, what you are going to do is have that conversation on what is the cultural self-identity Julia Alvarez has embraced at the conclusion of her essay. You're going to discuss as a group what it is. Then your one group leader is going to write the claim down. You can decide on who you want the group leader to be, the typer. Then each one of you is going to find a piece of evidence from the text that supports your claim. Then we're going to, once every group member has found evidence, then you're going to go back to the evidence and together discuss and elaborate on how that each piece of evidence relates to your claim. Does anyone have any questions on what we're going to do? Okay, step one is what, Nathan? What is this first step you're going to do in your group?
Find a group leader.
Okay, figure out your group leader. Once you've figured out your group leader, what are you going to do? Rochelle?
Claim.
What?
Claim. Going to make a claim.
Very good. You're going to create a claim, so you're going to discuss how you feel, what's the cultural self-identity, and what's the third step,
We're
Laura?
going to find evidence from the text.
You're going to find. Now, are you going to find it all, Laura?
No, each of us is going to find one piece of evidence.
And once each of you have found a piece of evidence, what are you going to do? What is the last step in this? What is the last step? Sarah?
To discuss.
Yes, take each piece. So if Julia has a piece of evidence, she's not going to elaborate it on by herself. You're going to discuss how that piece of evidence supports your claim. All set? All right. Let's get right to work.
Miss Emma,
What do you guys think is the claim?
can we like make a copy and share it with the group or?
It's all group. You already have it. It's already shared. You don't need to make a copy. I made separate ones, so you have a different document than any other group. Do you know what I mean? So Julia can type in.
Group 1 names, yeah.
Yes. So each one of you is going to take a box and write in your evidence. So you're going to find. So first, you need to discuss your claim.
You didn't have to make a copy, Jane.
Can you see that? There's 3 purples. There's 3 blues. Okay, you made yourself look at 3. Yeah, Anchor. You made yourself look at 3. Look at Anchor. What? Anchor. You got 3 Anchor. How'd you do that?
So what do you know? She did.
Oh, there's 4 of you. You only has 2. You only need 2. Who's the blue? There's 3. Oh. Okay, so that's the one. This is the one that's really on curve. Okay, these 2 are like they have to. It's got to work. So what's that claim? Okay, the claim. Do you guys have any idea about Julia?
We came my mother's name, pronounced her Julia instead of Julia. Her namesake was known as Julita at home, but at school I was Judy or Judith, and once an English teacher mistook me for Juliet. Yeah. So that whole thing is kind of like how she's bicultural. Well, not the whole thing, just saying like this part. Her namesake was known as Julita at home, but at school I was known as Judy or Judith.
Okay,
So she is.
So that was kind of a bicultural thing because she's getting used to the American culture at school.
Do you want me
So, yeah. All right, so her namesake was known as at home, but at school I was Judy or Judith, and once an English teacher mistook me for Juliet.
Julia's proud of her name.
Okay, she's proud of her name, but does that really answer what is the question that you're exploring? What is the yes. So
Julia's proud of her heritage.
well, she's proud of her heritage, but what we're asking here is, what is the cultural self-identity Julia Alvarez has embraced at the conclusion of her essay? So what does that mean, cultural self-identity? What does that mean?
Like your real name or like your full.
What is cultural identity?
Like who you really are.
Well, but is it make who you are? What is culture?
Well, culture is like what, like your family.
And what else? What are we learning right now? What are we learning? Your heritage is your cultural. So which one at the end of the essay did Julia embrace? What cultural self-identity did she embrace? What choices did she have? What could she have done? What could she have embraced? Look back at the end of the essay.
She was proud of being with her family.
She was proud of her family and her name.
Her identity.
Okay. So what did she finally begin to accept at the end? She had a different, and keep going and discussing that.
I kind of think it's like who she is. She's proud of who she is.
So what did you guys come up with for a claim?
We said Julia should keep her name and
Well,
not let people change who she is.
Okay. When we're talking about cultural self-identity, is it just about her name?
It's
What did her
actually about like how she.
Okay. So what is cultural? What's cultural identity?
Like your heritage.
What? Your heritage. So what did she realize? What by the end of the essay, what cultural self-identity did she decide? And you said, what was the claim that you just made?
It said Julia should keep her name and not let other people.
Okay, so what's that really saying? That
She should keep her heritage.
she's accepting her heritage, yet what?
She's becoming like Americanized.
Very good.
She's bicultural.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about it.
You're all looking.
What's wrong? You're trying to think. You're going to look back in your text to find the
My
evidence.
mother often told the story.
No.
So what are you thinking? What did Kira just say about
Being bicultural.
she's bicultural? So how do we know that? What is evidence in here that states that? And look in the text. How do you know that?
Our first few years in the States,
ask her where you're from.
she was not yet.
Okay.
Originally, she says,
So what does that? How does that support? Or so that's a piece of evidence, right? Okay. So you're going to write that in. Then you're going to have a discussion with your group with how that supports your thinking.
You could say how she said that she was from New York first because she was born here, remember? Because she wanted to be known as an American, which is, I think, being bicultural because they're loud.
Can you paraphrase? Because it says like evidence or paraphrase.
everyone does want to discuss.
So I don't have to put like actual text.
Nope. You just need to say where you got the paraphrasing from. And paraphrase means it's not your
It's not.
opinion. It's just
like tweet in my words.
that's right.
I'll try to like read out that's like a paragraph or like maybe even more, so we can like try to find the answer. Yeah.
So what have you decided on?
Like we're gonna try to guess the answer. So
What is your claim that you decided on?
Julia accepts her heritage.
Okay. So what do you have to do next? Each of you.
We have to find evidence that proves that she's
Yeah. Very good. So what are you thinking?
I'll send Julia accepts her version of she didn't really like her name.
Oh, here, wait, Ivan. So here it says they called her nicknames like here's beans and pepperoni and Alcatraz. So like earlier in class, like yesterday, we were talking about nicknames, like what it means.
Yeah.
It means they like respect you.
Yeah, because
So
like,
should I-
they always give you a nickname for nothing.
Yeah.
Like Smiley.
So should I put that? Should I put that as a?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, page 42.
I can see that you're not really liking the way that that sounds. So why don't you write it out the way that it is, and let's look at it and see if you can tweak it.
And her evidence.
Put in the words like you want to say. Or you can write it right there. That's the one.
And then like come up with better words to use them to
As nicknames.
Yeah, we found one in 40. Page 41.
So how are you doing?
So what did you guys find? We found that where it says, at the top of it says, so where are you from, Judy? She said she's from New York. She lied.
Okay, so
She's from
well, all these things kind of are saying that she's not really bicultural, that she's more like just trying to fit in, like she's trying to be Americanized more than bicultural.
We should say instead of that, we should say Julia's trying to be Americanized.
Because she's not really American. She's not. Because she is bicultural. Like at home, she's called
trying to be
Lita, and at school she's known as Judith.
At school, we should say at school.
Yeah, but then that would make her bicultural.
bicultural at home.
I guess she's bicultural, but she's not really like happy with her culture.
So where's your evidence?
But yeah, I think she's trying to. What word do you think?
Lhasa, where's your evidence?
Oh, I'm adding that right now.
You don't have to do the explanation yet.
Oh,
You can just find evidence, and then you're going to discuss together what your evidence means. Does it fit the claim, or is it not really strong enough to fit the claim?
And when he said, so what did you think?
So what you can do is, if you see, look through here for other evidence that could support if you're done.
Aaron, which one are you doing?
this.
How her whole family went to see. I know that. Yeah, but she was there. I know show her from at home. He's not like you chat with him. Or he is at home. He's not saying.
Where it says like they were being curious, I knew burned with shame whenever they singled me out as a foreigner, a rare exotic friend.
Yeah. So, he said, what you underlined here, they were just being curious, I knew, but I burned with shame whenever they singled me out as a foreigner or a rare exotic friend.
Okay, so I'm just still finishing up 41 or the
New York.
yeah. So how would that support the argument? So
Well, she's trying to hide the fact that she's.
Or she's embarrassed about it.
Julia is
I'm gonna
I
try to.
kind of said something about like that already.
It's kind of like she's.
Yeah, but still, you can say it again.
She's proud of it, but then when she goes to school, she's not really. She still is, but she's not.
So Julia is embarrassed about
Her culture.
Oh,
So here it says back home, my Theo and Tia and
Is that what you call that, being
primas.
Dominican?
Yeah, that is Republican. Dominican, it's just Dominican. Dominican, because it's Dominican Republic. Yeah, Americans, Chinese people. All right, so. Okay, so back home, my tios and tias, primas, and mommy and papi had a party for me with Santa Coco and store-bought pumpkin. Inscribed with happy graduation, Julie. There are many gifts, plus a large family. I got several wallets, suitcases with my initials, for graduation charms, and my godmother, and money from my uncle. The biggest gift was a portable typewriter for my parents for writing stories and poems. So I think that kind of shows that she was happy.
I'm kind of looking over all of these now. The only one that really has to do with being bicultural was the first one.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to find something that's bicultural then. Because she is bicultural, you can tell. So here it says this.
Page what?
42.
I first namesake was known as Lolita at home, but
Yes.
How do I get that? I sing.
What?
my explanation was she had
Don't worry about that right now. It's a special character, so that you got the accent of it. So we won't worry about that right now. You can write it down just as it is. So what did you get? Yeah, what are you trying to figure out?
Like the quote or something.
So what do you, let's think about, what are you thinking about?
Like kind of how she at the part where she's trying to say, kind of convince the people that it's not,
41.
or she's not like, she's not saying to them, she's just saying
Okay, so let's look at the part of the text. Where did you see a part like that?
She was embarrassed, so I think that was doing it.
Okay.
Because it's more like it wouldn't be embarrassed to have
Okay. So read it and let's see.
I don't know, like that's what I don't know.
Yep, that's what the mom, so that's not really what we're looking for. What would you be looking for?
Yeah, because here's the whole part where if she came by home, then she wouldn't be embarrassed.
Oh, you don't, you look and you tell me, you read the text and tell me if that would work for what you're thinking.
can I speak to Anna? I asked so they once saying her name in American way. Anna, when the voice hesitated. Oh, you must be Anna. Our first few years in the States thought
Ethnicity.
was not yet in. Those who are blonde, blue eyed, value yourself years of junior high, high school,
By the time I was in high school,
So what are you looking for? My initial desire to be known by my correct Dominican name faded. I just wanted, is that what you were looking for to show? So you just found your evidence that you were thinking of. Good job. Then you're going to discuss with your group, does that fit the plan?
Our first few years in the United States, though ethnicity was not yet in. Julia did not yet have American ethnicity in her family because they are still used to her old heritage. She is not used to her new heritage and her name, which people just call her nicknames, not her actual name. She was the kid who just wanted to get along with her friends.
Okay, someone else go because I have to finish typing. Okay, I'll go.
Erin, you go. Yours was short.
I'll go.
Where are you from, Judy? I'm from New York. I mean, originally the Caribbean. Julia told her friends that she's from New York, but they wanted to know where she was from originally. She was truthful with them and told them her native home. That shows that she was embarrassed at first about her culture, then she realized that that's who she is.
Oh my god. Why did you highlight it white?
It's not white.
Yeah, it says it is.
Well, that's because of what it's normal.
Okay, and my second one, I put...
What did you highlight?
For my second one, I put they're being curious. I knew, but I burned shame whenever they singled me out as their exotic friend. When Julia's friends asked her what her name was in Spanish, what her name in Spanish was, Julia didn't and said Julia Alvarez. She told them her real name.
What did you do?
That was not my computer.
Yes, it was.
Which is
You
her full
accidentally
name, which goes back 4 generations.
Okay, I'm ready now.
No, reconnecting.
So what I wrote that is my mother often told me the story of how she almost changed my sister's name. Her mother almost changed her name because she did not feel comfortable and she thought people would laugh at her. So her mother was embarrassed. She was embarrassed because she did not have a common name for her, but her new baby. Okay, so now
Baby?
baby. B-A-B. Oh, wait. I was say double B.
Okay. My mother was
So let me hold on for 1 second, Ann. So far with everyone who shared, what have you done? Yeah, you're writing evidence. Have you elaborated on what anyone's thoughts were, or?
Not yet. We're just waiting for everyone to finish.
Okay.
Some of them were like sad and more because they read it all.
Okay.
Can I make a new one? Another one?
Yes, you can make another one.
Now
Of course.
I wrote, my mother was embarrassed among the Sallys and Janes and Georges and Jens to reveal the rich, noisy name of Marcia. So, mine are so weird.
What do you mean enough to claim?
Because our first claim was Julia is bicultural.
And what did you come up with at the end?
Well, I think we still have to change it a little bit, but it's Julia is American at school and Dominican at home. I think that's right. Which means
she's
Bicultural. Bicultural.
I mean,
is that 2 cultures?
Yeah.
If you're one way here, so she's merging the 2?
Yeah. So she's a melting.
Oh, she's
Not merging.
Oh, not merging. She's doing what?
Salad bowl.
Yeah, right?
So can we write that in parentheses?
If you want to.
Do it in parentheses, and then write like a dash.
I don't think we need 2 different
Like what it means. Because
We should be at the point where we found our evidence, and now you should be discussing it. You should be looking at your evidence and seeing, does it fit your claim? Have you found the appropriate evidence? And does it support what your thinking is?
I think we have. Our claim is very right about the mom.
So what does the mom
by the time I was in high school, I was a public and it showed my name.
What does the mom have to
basically,
do with the way Julia responds to situations?
Yeah, she got it because she was
Spin it that way.
the new
Yes, mad moms.
Once you're new, everyone knows you.
I mean, that's how you'd have to explain that. That's great thinking.
And I wrote, my family waited outside in the parking lot while my friends and I signed yearbooks with nicknames which were called high school good memory, a good time, beans and pepperoni and Alcatraz. We hugged and cried and promised to keep in touch. So like she wanted to be like popular. So like it's saying how she got to be friends and she stayed with herself and she accepted that she had a different heritage, but at the same time she still keep it. She wasn't. It's kind of great. Like at first I was thinking she was becoming Americanized because she wasn't like really like she just let people do like whatever. So she's like, oh, I'll fit in with them. So I won't people to like me. So I'll just be American. But then she's like bicultural.
Yeah, I think she's bicultural now because she still accepts her heritage and the way she's
Did you find evidence that shows she accepts her heritage? Is there a line or evidence in it that shows that?
Well, when she pronounces her name, full name, like as if it was like a little Eastern Bazaar or a South American village, it kind of reflects her heritage. Like the name, how she pronounces it.
Like she,
how she's American.
What do you see at the end of the essay?
Someday, the family predicted my name would be well known throughout the United States. I laughed to myself, wondering which one I would go by.
So what's that mean?
If she would stay with her name that she was born with, or if she would stay with the name that she kind of got Americanized.
Okay.
it's like saying she's glad that she has both, that she can communicate. It's like lucky to be bicultural, so she got to become it. So she has I'm not saying she has two identities, but like other
she
people
has a choice.
Yeah, like other people see her differently. Like her family sees her as a Dominican, and like Americans see her as American. So she can act differently around other people.
Okay, so she can embrace.
Yeah, she has a special balance.
There you go.
Usually they want to, usually the parents are so used to Dominican culture that they want to just keep their kids like that. And not only Dominican, anywhere, coming from anywhere, but she felt embarrassed about her name since it was so loud, and then all the other ones were Sally's and James and George's and John's. So she called her kid Maureen, and they said, why'd you give her an Irish name with so many pretty Spanish names to choose from? So I think that she was kind of being bicultural, because at home it was okay for her to be named Maureen because it was just regular. It was a Spanish name, and they all had, almost all, because Anna was really Spanish, but they all had Spanish names. But then out, just how Judy didn't like her name, Mauricia. Her mom didn't she thought it was too loud in Spanish when she heard all the other names.
So looking at all the evidence that you found, which one do you think is your strongest piece? If you were to look at all your evidence that the whole group,
I think the first one.
And what's the first one?
Her namesake was known as Julita at home, but at school I was Judy or Judith. And once an English teacher mistook me for Juliet. And we said that Julia is getting used to two cultures, her American one at school and the Dominican one at home. She has known the Dominican one all her life and is getting used to the American.
Okay, and why do you think that's your strongest piece of evidence?
It shows that she's
bicultural. Saying that she's bicultural, that she has one culture at home and one culture at school.
Okay.
It's out and at school. So, and that is probably our strongest piece of evidence because it has both sides in one piece of evidence.
Okay.
Usually, the other sides we have her either at school or at home.
And what else does it show? When you think about it and we think deeper about the evidence, what else does it show about her?
That she was at that time she was more proud of her name.
Okay.
Because she, I remember after that it said that she wanted to correct them all, but her mother said just don't, you don't have to, because we're in America now, and so that's one.
And it also shows the struggle that she has to go through. It's like the start of the struggle to get used to. She has one identity at home and one at school. All right, we should be finishing up our last few thoughts. I'm going to give about another 2 minutes, and then we're going to bring it back together. So finish up. How did you guys end up?
We kept on playing the same.
And what made you decide that? What did you do to decide?
The adage was she's bicultural / Hispanic.
Okay.
I kind of thought that it explained enough. Like you can understand the evidence, you can understand it. Like
Okay.
she's American at school and Dominican at home.
Okay.
So and then we stated that it means that she's bicultural. So we have what we think in there.
Okay. Do you think she accepted it by
I
the
think
end?
she accepted it. I think so.
Okay. Why do you think?
So it is not just really embarrassed to reveal.
Well, because I think she kind of realized that she's already fit in. Like I bet when she goes to college, she might keep her real name because she realizes even though you have a different name, you can still fit in. But she did coming to the country. She was kind of scared and didn't want And now towards the end, she already has friends,
Because
so
she
she's
really had
not.
a choice to change her name when she came to the United States.
Spanish names, but soon found out that they all did love that name.
Yeah, but they all pronounced it more American because it was Mauricia, but they called it Mauricia.
Yeah. So, and soon, and no one. How do we say this?
Did you have to add anything to your elaborations? And what did you notice about when you added into your elaborations?
No one pronounced her name the correct way.
I don't know about my last one.
We don't have to put the really. No one really. We just say no one pronounced his name correctly.
All right, let's come back together. So what do you think about the question? What did your group come up with? What was your group's thoughts? What was your group's thoughts? Vasa.
Like how Julia has a balance of with her Dominican and her American.
All right, so you came to that conclusion, and what is the evidence from the text that helps to support that?
My family waited outside in the parking lot while my friends and I signed yearbooks with nicknames, which are called High School, Good Times Beans, and Pepperoni, and Alcatraz. We hugged and cried and promised to keep in touch. So she has her friends, and she wanted to be popular, so she got her wish, kind of. And but her family, still sees her as she's bicultural, so she can balance that.
And how does her family still see her? And how does she see her family?
Dominican, but I mean
So then that supports what you're saying. Rochelle, what do you think?
We thought Julia Alvarez became Americanized because on page 41, she said, I suffered most whenever my extended family attended the school occasions, and she was embarrassed of her family because she doesn't want other of her friends to know about her big family. She also explains how they look, and they were in the front row, and also there later in the page it says how embarrassed she was.
So by the end, you think that she was more Americanized?
And if she was bicultural, she wouldn't care how her family looked because she would care how they looked to her, not to other people.
Okay. Does anyone agree with that? Sarah?
Oh, well, I don't know.
Does anyone agree with that? Add on to that? How about, did anyone have a different take or thought on that? So, Laura.
Well, should I just read the claim then? Or?
Well, you could just tell me, you could paraphrase what your group thinks.
Well, we thought that she's bicultural.
Okay.
Because, and a salad bowl, because she keeps both cultures. So at school she is an American. She acts like I guess Americans do. Like she's just like, she has a different name, but at home she's still Dominican. She follows the same things that her parents follow.
Okay. And how about evidence from the story? Can you give me something specific from the story that your group came up with to support?
Well, so I was the popular kid in high school, and it showed in my name. My friends called me Jules or Hey Jude, because that's like showing that she's American at school, since she has that name. And
what else is it showing about her? The kids are giving her a nickname. They're shortening her name. What's that showing for her that she wanted more than anything throughout this piece?
To fit in.
That's right. So it's showing that she wants to fit in her school environment. Do her parents call her Judy or Jude?
No, they just
Juliet?
call her Julita.
That's right. Anyone want to add on to what Laura has said? Sarah?
Well, we agree with their group, and we had a piece of evidence that was in the first page, actually, and it was, her namesake was known as Julita at home, but at school I was Judy, Jude, or Judith, and once an English teacher mistook my name for Juliet. So we said that Julia was getting used to like two cultures, where one was at home, and it was the Dominican one, which she had her whole life, but then she was getting used to the having the American culture, which is at school, where they had the American names for her, and instead of like saying her real name, and she was like getting used to it and actually like I don't know, like I guess getting used to it. So.
Okay. Now let me ask you this: does anyone have anything else to add to what your group thought? Now this was written. Tori, do you have something else to add?
Okay, so, well, my group obviously thinks she's bicultural, so, one thing we found was that, so she said, my initial desire to be known by my correct Dominican name faded. I just wanted to be Judy and merged with the Sallys and Janes in my class, but inevitably my accent and coloring gave me away. So now, she was trying to hide her Dominican culture instead of like letting it show, and she was really just embarrassed about her true culture, and she like really was kind of feeling left out because she was the different one, the more exotic one. So so when she's out of school, she's trying to be a normal, well, she's normal, but like a normal American instead of a mix, but at home she's back to being.
Now let me add on to what Tori said. This piece was written in the 1960s, and it was the personal essay of Julia Alvarez and what she went through. Now if Julia was in school right now at this day and age, at this time period, would she still have the same struggle within herself of wanting to fit in? Do you think she would have the same struggle? Joe?
I actually have a question. When you were
Well,
saying,
hold on for that question, for that one thought, and let me answer my question, and then I will go right back to you. Okay, so hold that question. Vasa.
I really don't think like anyone would like, they don't care if you like to do this, like they just want to be your friend, like they do like believe that like you are like bicultural or not, like they like how you are, but it doesn't, like, even if you're not, they still would like, it doesn't matter if you're bicultural to fit in.
Okay,
So
adding on to what Vasa said, or new thought, Laura.
Well, I think it'd be easier because there are people in the school with different names, unique names, and we don't really judge people by their names. We now just try to get to know them, not just say, oh, that's an odd name, I don't want to be friends with that person.
Okay. Sarah.
Our group was discussing this before actually, and we were saying how like now since they're like more like there's more immigration and more diversity like in America, that we're more used to like having different people in like our school, and like so if someone like in our school, I know that if someone like just moved to America or something from like another country and don't know how to speak English, that everyone wants to be their friend and wants to help them and wants to be welcoming to them. So I think that is like it would be different for her because she would just like feel good, like actually like be proud of like who she really was instead of being like trying to hide it.
Okay, add on to that, Annabelle?
From like back then and now, it's different because like now people, like Sarah said, would probably want to get to know her better and like.
And what would be the reasons? What's the changes? What is different that we've learned between before and now? What is the difference? You can think of what is the difference? Why would it be kind of easier now, which is what we've all kind of decided through discussion. What is the big change? What do you think, Tori?
Well, it said ethnicity was not yet in. Those are the blonde, blue-eyed Bobby sock years of junior high and high school before the 60s ushered peasant blouses, hoops, hoop earrings, and serapes. And so back then, everyone just kind of looked the same. Like, if you, like, same hair, same way you dress, like, everyone had the same kind of accent, I guess, because they were all from America. So, but now, because immigration, like, grew over the years, so now everyone in here in America is just, they're not all the same.
So we embrace all cultures now, and that's the difference. Is there's so many mix of cultures coming in that it is no issue. No one really has to do that struggle so much. Okay, I have time. One more add-on. Julia?
Because before, like how Tori said, that like now that immigration has like grew, so they were very judgmental about, because everyone was so the same, so if there was something different, then they probably wouldn't want to be their friend. But like now, there's so many different people in our classrooms or wherever, so they all they get to like meet each other and know who they are.
So you get to really know who each other is. And as we're going to get ready to wrap it up, Joe had a question. Joe, do you want to share your question?
When you were saying it was like a writing, was this actually happened, or did it actually happen to Julia Alvarez, or was it just something she made up? Because you said it was a
personal essay. What do you think?
It actually happened to her?
Are you guessing, or think it through? A personal essay. It's personal, and
it happened.
It happened to her, and it was about her name. Tori?
Well, I kind of have like a connection to this, not with me, but in 4th grade, this girl moved to our school, and in my lunch period, we had to practice, and she didn't speak. I know she didn't speak English. And it was in like the end of the year, so I think everyone kind of wanted to be like friends with her because they knew I know she got held back because she was really new, she was young. And, so I mean, I think I even tried to go up to her and say like hi and like introduce myself, but she looked. I remember like she looked very confused and everything. So I don't know. It's just. Everyone was very welcoming to her. So.
All right. So, wrapping it up, what is the importance? Today we did the task of that you created a claim and then you found text evidence. What is something new that you realized through this process? What is something new that you may have realized through going through this process? Julia?
I realized that before, years back, I guess, that they were very, not very welcoming to different people from different places. So I learned that, now there's so many different people that, we welcome, but before, not everyone was welcome.
Okay. How about with the strategy of finding evidence and supporting it? Sarah?
Well, I learned that when we did the elaboration, to elaborate more on the elaboration instead of doing Julia was proud of her heritage, elaborate more onto that.
And how did your group?
You know?
Very good. You used, what did you think?
Told how do you know?
Yeah, asking, how do I know this? Or what was another question you can ask yourself when you want to elaborate on finding or on the evidence you've gotten? Sarah?
Why?
And then why, just asking, and finding that evidence and deciding how it fits. All right. We are done. Make sure that you have it set. I believe it's already shared with me, so you do not need to reshare it. And once we're done, you can log out of your computers.